What's up, guys, and welcome back to this week's episode of the podcast. I'm joined by Harry, of course, for the second time today. We're actually recording. Harry, I asked you how you were. I spoke to you 8 hours ago, so yeah, good as always. And we're joined by Michael from All Leeds TV. We thought we'd get a promotion team on for Premier League predictions. Michael, how you doing?
Yeah, not too bad, mate. Not too bad.
Good. I know we were actually just joking about it a second ago, saying that Tottenham and Leeds having a trophy parade in the same season. Who would have thought? The plan was actually to get Michael on the year they were last in the Premier League, and then so much shit happened, we never got around to it. And then I was meant to go on there to talk about Manon Solomon, and then life just got in the way. So this year we're going to make an active effort to have him on, especially when we play Leeds as well. Premier League predictions then, it's here. Oh, God. We're going to get crucified for this. I'd like to point out we are recording this on Sunday, the 20th of July. So anything that we say is based on current information / speculation that currently exists. Do not crucify me if I say your club's going to do well and then you go and sell your best player in the last 2 weeks of the transfer window. It's not my fault. There we go. Let's go from there. Right. As I'm a gentleman, I'll ask the guest first. Michael, 20th. Who have you got?
Burnley, straight off the bat. Burnley are getting relegated.
Yeah, I think. Right, we'll go for the others, then we'll talk about each team. Harry, who have you got?
Brentford.
Wow. Okay. I've also got Burnley. We'll talk about Burnley first, then we'll talk about why Harry's picked Brentford. Yeah. I love Scott Parker, but Kyle Walker's a liability. And if you think he's going to defend in a low block and keep you up, this is not 2019. I just think Burnley haven't added... Actually, my mate said this to me earlier. Burnley seem to add young players every time they get promoted and not the level of experience that they need to stay up. Now they've gone and signed experienced and, well, they've gone and signed washed and labelled it as experience, thinking that that's going to keep them up. And I just don't think it is. I like Scott Parker. I do hope they do well. I do like the Burnley owner, but I just feel like it's just going to be too much for them. I must say they were unlucky to miss out on the title last year. Their defending and whatever was phenomenal. Obviously, James Trafford looks like he's going to Man City as of this morning. Galatasaray bid $3 million for Ederson. It looks like City are accepting it. So, yeah. Harry, Brentford, why?
They're getting gutted right now. Obviously, Bremer's gone. We've taken their manager. Norgard's left, which I think, whilst on paper that might not seem like a big thing because, you know, he's a central midfielder, but he's obviously a huge influence on the team. I mean, he's the captain. He's gone. And Vista's probably on his way out. And it doesn't look like they're really replacing these players right now or anything. And Frank, I don't know how to say it because it's going to come across as me just being, you know, saying Frank's not the most amazing manager. But he has done, like, overachieved with what Brentford have given him and the finances they've given him. They've appointed a set-piece coach, which, in theory, because he's worked within Brentford, it should work. Now, I've seen this happen so many times. I'm talking about back in, like, 2000s and, like, 2010s, whatever. Like, for example, who was it? Steve Keane was, like, a Blackburn. They went down. And, like, some other assistant took over, and they went down. Who was it? Alan Shearer took over. Newcastle, they got relegated. I don't know. I just think we're sitting on a recipe for disaster. Unless they go and sign 3 or 4 players in the next week or 2 weeks before the season starts to replace some of these players they let go and bring some more senior players, I guess, with experience. I know they brought Henderson in, which is might work out, might not, but I just think it's kind of too late with him. I think they're going to be in free fall. I mean, I could be very wrong, and it's just based on transfer stuff. So, but I just think they've been gutted so much that I just don't know where the next positive's going to come from. So,
if Brentford somehow qualify for European football next season, this is going to make the greatest clip in the entire history of football. 19th then, before Harry says anything else daft. Michael sat there in sheer disbelief. I told you it'd be fun, didn't I? 19th, I've gone with Sunderland. My reason being, and there's reasons why I put certain teams in certain positions, and Sunderland's the opposite of that. I think they've signed too many players, and I think this is the problem when you go up from the Championship, especially if you were not expected. It wasn't a season where you're like, right, we're challenging this season, we're either finishing playoffs or we're automatics, or we're winning the playoffs, and we expect to be doing that. Sunderland, I was in London that weekend going to the parade, and on the train down, I saw loads of Sunderland fans, and I asked them, saying, listen, you're a great historic Premier League club. I don't want Sheffield United in the Premier League because their fans are horrible. The club's just shit levels of football, and I'm still pissed off about when Lucas Moura got tripped up. His shoulder hit the ball, passed into the line of Harry Kane and got disallowed. That was like 3 years ago, and I'm still pissed off about it. So I asked Sunderland fans what they thought. I'm not a single Sunderland fan. They were like, mate, it's a great day out. We'll be in the Championship next year. And to be fair to them and to the fans, they were brilliant in that playoff final. And I wouldn't say either team deserved to win. If I was ever going to edge one, I would have said Sunderland. So I just think they've done too much. And the problem is, with a team like that, is you do have to make a lot of signings, because if you don't, you're going to be in the Champions Squad in the Premier League, you're just going to get annihilated. But if you make too many signings, they're not going to gel, they're not going to embed together, and it's going to take 6 weeks before your season really starts. And as Michael will know, sometimes that early period can cost you. At the end of the season, you're sitting there going, you know what, we just left it too late to get going, and it's fucked us. And I think that's going to be the case with Sunderland. And it is a bit of a shame, because I do like them as a club, and I do like the Tyneside derby in the Premier League, and I think we need it back. It was just a couple of seasons too early for me. We'll go you next, Harry. Who have you got 19th?
Oh no, you can kill me. Leeds.
Okay.
Yes.
Go on, what's your reasoning? What's your reasoning? And it's good job I did it this way round, because then Michael can stamp out all your reasoning.
He's going to kill me next time. He's going to put Solomon like 15th or something. But anyway, the reason is I don't know. I've seen so many Championship teams come up and just fall back down that I just don't think, unless Leeds go out and sign 3 or 4 really experienced players the next week, I just think they might struggle like all the other Championship teams. It's not anything personal to do with Leeds. It's just all these teams that come up seem to go straight back down in the last 2 years. So it's quite hard for me to kind of just put someone like above, unless I see them doing something a bit different in the market. And bear in mind, we're just basing this on like the summer transfer window pretty much, plus previous games we've watched, the odd game with a Championship team, for example, Leeds. So I'm probably going to be wrong in like a month or two so when I see the actual gel together. But I'm just basing it off that, really. Just the fact that they come up and go straight back down.
Obviously, you've got reservations about that, Michael. Before you give your opinion on Harry's take, who have you got for 19th?
So I've got West Ham for 19th.
Oh
Obviously,
my God. That will be the greatest season. Fuck, winning the Europa League. Fucking, this is brilliant. Why haven't we had him on sooner? Didn't matter that we're in different divisions. Fucking hell, right. I want to hear this. Go on. This is great.
Well, you've lost Kudos, and I just think they overachieved last season. Obviously, they are a good player. They lost Cresswell. They lost Corfo as well, both experienced players. And if you think about who they've actually brought in, again, this is as of date. So, just looking now, they brought in the centre-back they had on loan last season and Juve as well. Again, not Prem experience. So they brought in Carl Walker-Peters. Again, it's a decent player. But again, lower Prem, high-end Championship player, in my opinion. So Kurt Zuma as well has gone. Antonio's gone. Ings has gone. Fabianski's gone as well. So it is going to be a struggle for them. Obviously, you have got money that they've recruited, 63 million euros, but again, 40 of it's already gone on the centre defender they had last season on loan. I think they struggle personally, and yes, it would be harsh to have them in that thing, but I'm trying to think, out of all the Prem sides, who's going to struggle the most? And I think they will.
Music to my ears. Obviously, you've turned your nose up at Harry's prediction, probably rightly so. Just don't go into too much detail, because obviously you'll talk about it more when you talk about where you've got Leeds finishing. But what's your initial reaction to his take?
I respect it, and I understand why you would put. No, I understand. The thing is that I respect and I understand why people are putting the 3 promoted sides straight back down. I understand that. and I will explain why a bit more when I let you know where I
Well,
put Sunderland and where I put Leeds as to why they are where they are.
okay.
Is it going to be a hard season? Absolutely. Am I going to sit here and say we're 100% going to stay up? Absolutely not. But I think there are worse teams in the league than us based on the transfers that we've seen so far, outgoings as well as ingoings.
Okay. My 18th, and I think they've avoided the drop for a couple of years now, is Wolves. And my reason being is those three championships, those three sides that got relegated last season were absolutely fucking awful. And had Spurs and Man United had a little bit of a backbone, Wolves would have been a lot more in that mix and had a lot more problems than they had. I like Wolves as a club. I like their style. They've played with a back three for a long time. I like that identity, and I do like the manager. He seems to get the club. He seems to get the fan base. The problem you have with Wolves is since Nuno left, they have a habit of being quite trigger happy. And the problem you have with that is you make a decision too early and you piss off your players. You make a decision too late and you bring in somebody who can't quite keep them up. And I think Wolves were really lucky with the run of form they went on last season. Losing Cunha doesn't look like they're going to spend the money to invest. I think their squad's already lacking in Premier League quality. I think there's maybe 2 or 3 players that I'd say, yeah, cool, they get into the teams above them in the league. I think they're very starved for individual quality that can make the difference in a relegation fighting season. And I just think it's going to be too little too late. And I think the problem I have with Wolves as well is they're not one of those teams that's going to go and scrape a 2-0 win or scrape a 1-0 win or scrape a 2-1 last minute, throwing bodies into the box. They're sort of a team that when the game's gone, for lack of a better word, the game's gone, they're 2-0 down at home, inside 15, 20 minutes, possession's being dominated. Have they got enough Premier League quality, not even experience, but Premier League quality to physically drag them back into the game without their opposition making a mistake? I'm not so sure. And I think Wolves will drop points to those teams that I've listed below them, and I think that will end up being the difference maker. So I've got Wolves 18th. Michael, we'll go you next. Who have you got 18th?
I've gone Wolves as well. Obviously,
Okay.
you've already mentioned Cunha's gone. Obviously, Aiden Nuri's gone as well.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Is very, very instrumental down that left-hand side to the way that they play. Semedo's gone as well. Again, instrumental down to the right-hand side. And again, like you said, bringing in players. They've only brought in Fer Lopez and a guy from Fluminense as well. So they've already spent some money. Obviously, Larson as well. They signed who they had on loan last season. I don't see them having enough quality to stay up.
Yeah, I think that's a fair assessment. Harry, for you?
Well, I almost went the same as you two, but I went with Burnley. Mainly because I think they'll make a great fight of it. But I think the team we just spoke about will just about scrape survival. It'll be those two like in the last day, and they'll be fighting to survive, and Wolves will just about scrape it, I think. Yeah.
Well, in that case,
So
then, Harry, you got 17th.
Yeah, Wolves.
Wolves 17th. Okay, cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Basically, I just explained. I think there's not much
my
between them. So, yeah, I think it'll go to the last day.
Yeah. Okay. My 17th is Leeds. I think it's one of those situations where when you have other clubs that are... You got Burnley, who I don't think are going to buy the Premier League quality. Sunderland that are just not expected to be promoted, and then Wolves that have rode their luck for a good couple of seasons now. I think there's a real opportunity for Leeds to capitalise on that. And obviously, Leeds are a big club. They're a historic Premier League club, and they know that that's where they should be. And I think the owners will realise, looking at those teams, looking at the form, looking at the changes of a lot of teams that have even got above them, I think they'll really see that as an opportunity where, right, we can mainstay our foundations here. And once you stay up a year, if you recruit well and if you spend well, then it can become a consistent foundation. So I think Leeds will just about stay up. I think it is going to be really, 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 really fucking tight. I'm not going to lie, based on how it currently stands. I think Longstaff's a massive coup for Leeds. Massive coup for Leeds. I think it's a brilliant signing. I don't know how much you guys paid, but when I saw the transfer and it seemed like there was quite a lot of convincing to do, I think he's got a lot of quality. He's got that Premier League experience. He's got the experience of playing alongside two absolute units in that Newcastle midfield. I think he can bring a lot of stability to Leeds. I don't know what's happening, and I'll leave this on to you because I'm sure you can answer this. I don't know what's happening with Meslier or your goalkeeping situation. What I do know is that he was fucking dreadful last year, and the amount of times I saw the clips going, thank fuck we didn't sign him to replace Lloris, all because he was good on Football Manager one year. Honestly, just diabolical. So I'll move that on to you. Who's your 17th, and what the fuck's going on with your goalkeeping situation?
Right, I'll talk about the goalkeeping situation first of all. So
Yeah.
we are interested in offers. So there are clubs that are linked with him, but there's no concrete offer yet. Now, on the contrary to what you just said, that he's diabolical and stuff, he kept 21 clean sheets in the league, which is the second most of anybody. Only Trafford kept more clean sheets than him. So he's not as bad as what people are making out. Yes, he has made a lot of errors. For example, the whole game, the Sunderland game.
They were so bad.
Yeah, they were. Admittedly, I crucified him for that and said exactly the same on my own podcast how I felt about him. I could see us going into the first game of the season with either Meslier or Darlow in goal. I can see that happening. Now, do I want that to happen? No. There are a couple of keepers that I do want to come in instead that we are linked with. But he's not as bad as what the stats actually make out. Like, the stats are actually all right for him compared to other keepers around his level anyway. But going back to 17th, I've got Sunderland, which I'm going to counteract what Harry said about they're bringing in too many players. Now, Sunderland's squad isn't good enough for the Prem if they had it solely based on what they had. My only worry for them, and yes, I've had a lot of back and forth with a lot of Sunderland fans last season, but my only worry is the fact that the players they brought in all go to AFCON this year. So the majority of their side. So Diarra, who is a quality player who we were linked with, but we only valued him at 22 million euros. I think they overpaid at 31.5 million euros. The guy from Brighton, who I'm not even going to butcher his surname, Lafay is okay, but is he a Prem player? Is yet to be seen. Siddiqui as well is another talented player. So I think the only worry for them is Patterson and their two centre backs. Obviously, Dan Bullard and O'Neill are not Prem ready. They are going to get absolutely torn to shreds, especially from the top 10 sides and teams in and around them. So unless they're going to get a keeper, they will get relegated. But I've got between 14th to 19th. Any of those positions could get relegated. It's not cut and dry they're going to stay up. I do worry for them. Okay. But with the fact that they are linked to the keeper, they could stay up.
Okay, just a quick question before we go on to the next one. So, obviously, for me, I saw a lot of Meslier's mistakes last season. And in the Premier League, when you're in a dogfight, you simply cannot have that level of mistakes. If you go down because your quality isn't good enough, then you say, fair fucks, we should have done different in the transfer window, or maybe got promoted too early, whatever. If you go down because your goalkeeper cost you valuable points, as he did at times in the Championship for you guys, do you not have that concern that a great goalkeeper or a top-level goalkeeper for where you are in terms of where you're expected to finish, etc., can be the difference between you staying up and going down? Do you not think that should be a priority?
There are other areas that we need or needed to recruit in, which we have done so far. Okay. But again, we've been linked with Milinkovic-Savic, who, I think he's choosing to go to Napoli.
Yeah.
We're after Lucas Perry from Lyon. I think there is a lot more talks that we are going to go back in for him. So we are looking for a keeper anyway. So we're not necessarily going to end up 2nd of September with Darlow and Meslier. If we do, I will be slightly worried. I'd be more inclined to go for Darlow over Meslier. Again, his age and experience, I think, will help him. But we are definitely in for another goalkeeper.
Okay, fair enough. 16th, I've got West Ham. I just think they're spending loads of money in all the wrong places, and it doesn't make any sense. And I just think West Ham need to adopt that Brentford-Brighton model of going and scouting from Austria, Africa's, wherever, broaden their horizons for young level players and bring them in, develop them, grow them, turn them into 60, 70 million pound players, sell them, and then go and buy the extra quality, rather than, as you alluded to earlier, going and spending 40 million on Todibo, when in reality, 20 million young players would probably be a better fit for West Ham right now. I think West Ham as a club have enough experience, and they have enough experienced players that they don't need to go and necessarily sign Premier League experience at this stage, maybe apart from the striker position. I feel like West Ham's priority needs to be young 15 to 25, 30 million pound players that are relatively unproven, that Graham Potter can grow. That's where he was so successful at Brighton. That's what got him the Chelsea job in the first place. I don't think there's that much difference between where West Ham are now and where Brighton were when he started that project. So if they let him have that similar mould and they take that similar mould, I think West Ham can be pushing Europe again in the next 3 years. If they don't take that similar mould and they do go down, as you suggested before, when they go down, they are going to be fucked. Financially, they're going to be absolutely fucked. And I think they're better just rolling the dice with you, mixed with the experience of what you got. You got your Thomas Souček, who's a great player on his day. He's a leader in terms of the way he plays and you know, the way he holds himself. Jared Bowen, who everyone knows if they listen to this podcast, I absolutely love him, even though he plays for them cunts. Kyle Walker-Peters, as you alluded to, that they've signed, perfect, ready for the Championship in a year's time. You know, they're trying to look at Ramsdale, who probably is going to get relegated anyway. But they've got quality in there. They've got Premier League experience in there. I think they need to blend it with youth. I think they'll get lucky this season. I'm not going to lie to you. I think they'll get really lucky. I'd love to see him go down. I'd absolutely love to see him go down. It would have been better if it had been the year we won a European trophy, but you know, two wins in 2 years would be great. I'd love to see him go down, but I think they've got too much in there. I think they'll just about stay up. Harry, 16th.
I've gone with Sunderland. I think, like you said, between 14th and 19th, it'll be pretty tight. But I think they'll probably survive. Like, obviously, I said Wolves and Burnley will be the last day. I think they'll survive with like an extra 2 points or something. Like, I think they've recruited quite well. I know you said they're going to AFCON, but I think they'll do most of their work in the first half of the season in terms of points. And in the second half, they'll just, in the end, just scrape it, basically. Yeah.
Okay. For you, Michael?
Sorry, Harry, didn't you say they were going to get relegated due to signing those players?
That was me.
That was you. Okay, yeah. I apologise.
I didn't wonder when you said that comment. Yeah, it was me.
No, that's fine. 16th, I've got Brentford. I think, obviously, they got rid of Norgard, but they brought in Henderson, so I think Henderson will just fit into his position. Yes, they've lost their keeper, Flecken, but I think they've upgraded with Kelleher. I think he's a better goalkeeper anyways, especially for the teams that are going to be 12th downwards. You need that quality keeper. I think he will win them enough points on his own.
Yeah, that's fair enough. It's easy for me to follow on for that then, because in 15th, I've got Brentford. For similar reasons, I think one of the reasons why they will be quite comfy in the dogfight, despite losing the players that they've lost, is Kelleher. I think he's a phenomenal keeper. I sat there, I said to Harry end of last season, I don't know why Chelsea weren't in for him. I think he would have been an upgrade on what they've got. I think he was so underrated at Liverpool. And me and Harry said actually last year about, you know, before we signed Kinski, about being an option for us in January and how much would Liverpool spend and where would he go to be a first-team keeper. I don't know if you saw the howler that Flecken had in the pre-season game for Leverkusen, but I think they have upgraded. Ten Hag needs to stop signing his friends because it's not ending very well. But I think he's a massive upgrade for Brentford, and I think there'll be times where Brentford will pick up points against teams that they don't necessarily deserve, like you said, purely because he'll keep them in the game. It is a risk with their manager, and I think they could easily finish rock bottom, but I just think there's enough experience in that squad, even if the manager turns out to be terrible. There's enough experience without that to keep them up relatively comfortably. I think there'll be one point where people will be sitting there saying, do they sack him, do they stick with him? But I think they'll stick through that and build on from that. Harry, 15th.
I've got West Ham. Yeah, I think Potter will kind of do what the same thing he did, but 15th. I guess he'll try and do something more with them, but I just don't see him going up that high up the table since last year. So 15th.
Okay. Michael, for you, 15th.
Leeds, and this is, I don't know if I'm a bit optimistic here. I mean, like I said, anywhere between 14th and 19th, I think any of them can go down. I think we've signed well. Bajol is obviously over 6 foot centre back, one of the best centre backs in Italy last season. So outside the top 4-6, he was the best centre back for stats and all of that. Signed Goodmanson, who defensively is an upgrade on Firpo, who, again, I love Firpo. Firpo is one of my favourite ever players for Leeds. I think defensively, I think Goodmanson is the upgrade, and he can also get forward as well. Obviously, Bornau, another 6 foot defender that can come on if we're having like a 1-0 lead and we need that height advantage. Longstaff as well, with over 200 Premier League experiences, covered the most distance over the last 2 seasons, will help our engine room. Obviously, we've already got Ampadu, we've got Tanaka there, who probably the best player in the Championship last season, especially in my opinion. Bogle as well, who's a fantastic right back. We're linked with Statch as well, another centre defensive midfield who's 6'4". We're we're a lot more physical. Obviously, you saw the friendly against Man United yesterday. We were putting our feet in. We were making harder tackles. The players we're linked with as well. Pajal, who was on his way to Marseille, but apparently now he might not happen. So we'll go for him, who is a top 10 Premier League player, in my opinion. I think we've got enough to stay up.
Okay. Did you say your 15th, Harry?
Yeah.
Yeah, right. 14th. I got crucified for this earlier, so let's see what people think. I've gone with Bournemouth. Now, I love Bournemouth as a club, and I've never had any issue with their fan base. I love them. They're a very tight-knit, unity club, and I love that, being a Tottenham fan. That's what I think for the majority part, our club is. And I do really like what Bournemouth stand for. I thought they were very attractive the way they played last season. The Dominic Solanke replacement, the Brazilian fella, I thought he was a lot better than people expected before his injury. I just think their defence has been absolutely fucking butchered. And it doesn't look like it's finished either. Obviously, they've replaced Kirkez. I don't know a lot about him. Similar sort of profile, body type, similar sort of athleticism. So no reason why he can't be successful. But I just think losing Højlund, however you say it, losing Zabani, it looks like, whether it be to PSG, to Tottenham, to Man United, there's a lot of links elsewhere. Losing Kepa as well, who I actually didn't think was that bad for Bournemouth last season. I just think it's just going to be too much adaptation from the level of consistency that their defence provided last season. It's just going to be too much in one season. I don't think they'll be in a dog scrap. I don't think we'll be sat there at any point going, Bournemouth are going to get relegated. But I just think it's going to be too much for them to... And I don't think 14th is a bad season for Bournemouth, given the outgoings, given the overhaul, given the injuries towards the end of last season. 14th for me is Bournemouth. Michael, who have you got?
I've gone Fulham. Based on the fact that they haven't signed anybody. Obviously, they had no outgoings as well. We're linked with their striker, Muniz.
Yeah.
So they will have a bit of money to play for if they do get it. Obviously, they are looking at different strikers anyway. They could struggle.
Harry?
Is it 14th now? Yeah, right. That's what I've got on here. Everton.
14th, yeah.
I've got Everton down. I just think Moyes will come in and do what Moyes does. Safety first. And I just don't think they'll... I can't see them breaking into the top 10 next season. I think they'll make a good go of it, but in the end, I think they'll just finish 14th.
Okay. 13th, I had Brighton, for similar reasons to Bournemouth. While there were times where they were really, really good last season, there were also times where they were absolutely, I don't want to say diabolical, but I think they were a lot worse than people made out to be at certain points last season. And I just feel like losing João Pedro, we've already seen if he was to Club World Cup how effective he was for Chelsea. I think maybe he was underused at Brighton or ineffectively used at Brighton. I just don't think that what they're bringing in is proven enough at this stage to sit there and say, right, cool, they can progress on what they did last season. And this is the problem with the situations with Bournemouth, Brighton, Palace to later allude to. The fact that they'll go and have a good season, they'll sell some players, they'll bring some players who are inexperienced. So you sort of do 5 steps forward, 4 steps backwards. Then next season when those players do well, 3 steps forward and then back a step again and then full. And I think it's kind of hard to, when you're a Brighton, unless you get into Europe, which they were lucky not to do last season, unless you get into Europe, it's harder to bridge that gap effectively. And I just don't think they've got enough about them. I've seen Evan Ferguson's gone to Roma. That's only a loan with an option, so it's not guaranteed money at this stage. I just think Brighton's starting very slow. And I just don't think they're going to have enough to make much of a difference from last season. I think they'll probably be in and around the same points as last season, but I just think other teams that are better, I think the overall quality of the gap in between is going to be higher next season. And as a result of it, even though they'll get sort of similar points, probably 55, 60, I just think it will put them lower down than what it would have done over the last few years. So I've gone with Brighton in 13th. Michael, who have you got?
Bournemouth. Big fan of their manager, Iriola. Obviously, we were linked with him a few years back. Petrovic as well, coming from Chelsea, I think could potentially be an upgrade to Kepa. Their new left back they've signed from Rennes is a decent left back, young up and coming one. Obviously, they're linked with other players, and they got a lot of attacking threat. So I think they've got enough that will definitely stay up. And I think 13th may be underdoing for them. I think they could potentially be higher than that as well.
Okay. Harry?
I'm same as 13th. I've got Bournemouth as 13th. So same reasons really. I just think there'll be a drop off from Bournemouth from last season as well. So I don't see them being in the top 10 for some reason. Like they'll be safe, but I think they'll be comfortably safe. I don't think we'll break, But the European charge they had last season.
Yeah, it's hard to replicate that. 12th, I have Fulham. I'm not going to lie. Listen, I started hating on Fulham the minute I found out they sold caviar. So I thought, it's just, that's why I always call them the Tory club. Fulham's such a weird one because, and by the way, I'm so glad we didn't get Marco Silva. For those guys who watched the transfer manager speculation at the end of last season, I'm so glad we didn't end up with him because I don't like him as a person or as a character personally in the way he's conducted himself at other clubs. That being said, he has seemed to have got a tune out of Fulham. I just feel like when I look at their squad, it just screams mid-table. It just screams comfortably mid-table. There's you like in times gone by, you'd look at Fulham and go, yeah, he could get into a top 6 club. He could get into a top 8 club. I look at that current Fulham team and I just don't see anybody that's that next level of quality. And it doesn't look like they have any intention of changing that anytime soon. So for me, Fulham are 12th. Harry, we'll go with you first.
Nottingham Forest. So I think last season Nottingham Forest overachieved quite a lot. I mean, obviously Chris Wood got 18 Premier League goals. I can't see him repeating that again. I think the loss of Elanga is going to be very understated because I think he was kind of their secret weapon, and I think he just I don't know because obviously Forest last season were a very counter-attacking side. I think Elanga was a massive part of that. I know they have Hudson-Odoi as well, but I think Elanga is just explosive and he's just next level compared to Hudson-Odoi. And obviously, if we go and get Gibbs White, which is still uncertain, I think they're going to be in trouble. And I don't think they'll get into the relegation fight or something. I just don't think they're going to be fighting for Europe like they were last season, and there's going to be a drop. Plus, they're going to I don't know what European competition they'll be playing next season, but I think that will factor into the fact they will drop down the table as well.
Okay, Michael.
Palace. I just think that they are that 12th spot team. I haven't seen much that they've improved on their transfers or sold anyone yet. I think with European football as well, the Conference League I think they're now in. So I think 12th, unless, again, like you say, we're recording this on the 20th. So depending on who they even buy in, they're not going to get much higher. They definitely won't get top 10.
It's funny you say that because my 11th place is Crystal Palace. For very similar reasons. I think they will bring in players. I just don't think they'll. I think it'll be more depth than it will be first team improvements. I think they will hold on to Eze, Mateta, Saar as well. I think they will hold as much to my dislike. I think they'll hold on to Adam Wharton for another year. So, obviously uncertainty about Guehi, but I think Lacroix stepped up massively last season, so I don't think that'll be as big of a miss, as long as they recruit well in terms of the replacement. So I think Palace are a stable club. Despite playing in London, they're actually surprisingly quite a likeable club. I think Palace will be comfortable. I think if they're in the Conference League, which I'm still praying to God that they win their Court of Arbitrary Sport appeal, because fuck Nottingham Forest. So I think I want to see Palace in the Europa League. They deserve it, and if they do, then maybe I'll put them a little bit lower. If they're in the Conference League, I think they'll be in it to win it. And I think Glazner will see that as a real opportunity, and I wouldn't be surprised if they finished, pardon the choice of wording, if they finished 17th and went on to win the Conference League next year. I wouldn't be surprised. And, I think they deserve it. I think Steve Parish has built the club in the right way. He's built it stable, step by step by step. And John Textor's a prick, so it'd be funny if they did it without him. Palace are my 11th. Michael?
I'd love them to be a lot lower than this, but I am going to go for Man United. Yes, okay, they've improved with Kuna, and Mbeumo looks like it's over the line, but their defence is absolutely shocking, as well as their midfield. They looked really, really poor against us yesterday. They're just an average side.
Things you love to see. Harry?
11th, I've got Palace as well. Pretty much the same reasons as you, but I do think they're probably going to win the Conference
check
League.
You.
Yeah.
Fair enough. My 10th, you'll never guess what, is Man United. For those very reasons. The attacking players they brought in, I think, make logical sense. I think they'd probably be better binning off Højlund and then having Cunha sort of play like a false nine to interlink Mbeumo, making the overlapping runs, and kind of have Mbeumo and maybe Diallo or maybe a left-sided player as inside forwards as opposed to wingers. I think that would probably suit, rather than having the one striker and the two sort of wide players, have it the opposite way around, where you sort of got one sort of false nine, if you like, linking up the midfield to the attack, which Cunha's proven he can do, and then your two wider players that come in and interchange there. Exactly for those reasons, their defence is absolutely woeful. And I just don't think, honestly, I just don't see, and it's a shame because I do like Almiron, and maybe that's just because I'm a back three manager personally, but I just don't see it clicking this season. I think they'll probably end up winning the cup because somehow they do that. Listen, United, thanks for that night in Bilbao, but your time's up. Harry, 10th.
Well, this was quite an easy choice because everyone's been talking about them already, but Fulham in 10th because they're banging in mid-table. So I just don't see them going. I don't think they'll be challenging for Europe, and I don't think they'll be in a relegation fight. So they'll just be sitting in 10th most of the season.
Michael?
I've gone for Everton in 10th. I like the addition of Barry up top. I think he'll be a good addition to them, as well as Beto. So as much as I would, like I said, much as I would love Everton and Man United to get relegated, I think with their new stadium, I think their home form at that new stadium, they'll probably go unbeaten for however long. So, yeah, I think 10th.
It's funny you say that because you'll never guess who I've got in 9th. Everton. For very similar reasons. Obviously, me and Harry had Jack on earlier. Literally like 2 weeks ago, we had Jack on. We were talking about new stadium and how he's feeling for it. I know he wants to get me up there for the Spurs game, and I said to him I'll get him down here for the Tottenham games. We meant to do that last season for my birthday, but he just never materialised. It was long and loads of bullshit and whatever. But I think Everton, the new stadium, is a chance for a fresh start. I think as much as Goodison is an iconic stadium, not just for the Premier League, but for Everton as well, I think they'll be looking forward to having a fresh start. They'll be looking forward to starting on the right foot. Moyes gets the club. I feel like he's going to be the man for a while now. Moyes has proven that if you give him time, he can build the club. Look at what he did with West Ham. I think there's no reason for Everton to change Moyes realistically for the next 5 years unless something goes tragically wrong. So use this time to build with him, get Branthwaite to sign a new deal, bring in the youngsters, build the team up. And I think Everton need to take that Brentford-Brighton kind of mould now where they have a set plan. They go and overpay, if you like, for elite-level strategists and elite-level scouts and go, right, guys, this is the budget. We can go and sign these two £50 million players, but there's no fucking point. What can you get us for this that's going to build us up to that next level? And I think Everton will do it effectively. I think people massively underestimate the size of Everton Football Club, and when I think back to me in school watching the Premier League, when they had, Kevin Morales, Lukaku, Barkley, fucking Coleman and Baines, fucking Jagielka at centre back, like the fucking, I'm not that old. The quality in that era I remember of Everton. Everton was such a joy to watch as a team, and I think Moyes can get them back to that again. And I just think they need that kind of... For me, if I was Everton, I'd be sitting there going, can we sign Harry Maguire? Can we sign Thomas Souček? Go and bring in two players that absolutely 100% fit the style of David Moyes. And I think they will project them up massively. It's interesting to see... I don't know a lot about the striker they've signed. It's interesting to see whether or not he is someone that's kind of a traditional David Moyes approach, or whether he's trying to go for something different. But I think Moyes just needs to stick to his guns, have a good first season in a new stadium. There's a lot to like about Everton Football Club, especially now the owner's gone. So I do hope they do well. I've never had an issue with Everton or Everton's fans, apart from when Jack came on when me and Harry were screaming last season. But yeah, I think Everton for me, 9th. Harry, who have you got 9th?
Manchester United. Now, I know you guys put them a bit lower down the table. I think with the lack of European football next season, it will actually help them because obviously Amram came in with how many months left of last season. It was very hard for him to try and push his ideas onto the players, considering how much of a mess United are, in general. I just think that with Cunha and Buemo, there's a lot more structure, at least in the attacking sense. But I just think they'll make a charge for Europe, but they'll just fall short because I just don't think they have enough in them to make a top 6 spot, top 7 spot. So I think they'll just about miss out on Europe and they'll finish 9th. Because I think the lack of European football and 2 games a week will help them and help Aram at least shape some sort of cohesion in the team, basically. So yeah, I just don't think they'll be that. They won't be amazing, but I just think they'll get some. They'll be somewhat structured. So.
Okay, 9th for you, Michael.
I've gone for Forest. I like the 2 signs they got from Botafogo, especially Igor Jesus. I think he is a decent player. Yes, with Europe, I think they're in Europe. I'm not actually sure if that will help them or not. Yeah. We don't know yet, obviously. I don't like the way their owners have gone about it in the way that they like to stitch up other clubs when they broke FFP a few years back and stayed up.
Did you see my run video on that? At like 1:15 in the morning. I went fucking mental. This Forest, right, I'm going to go on a rant now, 2 seconds. This Forest fan on Twitter was giving me shit, right, for saying that they're a bunch of scummy fans and whatever. And he was like, well, Palace broke the rules. First of all, yes, technically. However, the people that own those shares in Palace have no voting rights for decisions. Therefore, it doesn't matter whether they own them or not because they can't actually do anything with them. It just exists to make them more or less money depending on how well the club do financially. What Forest did was go and sign loads of players, break every fucking rule under the sun, got a tiny points deduction, used those same players that they broke the rules to sign to get them a ridiculous amount of points during the course of the season to stay up at the expense of Luton, Leeds, whoever the fuck else went down, and it's bullshit. That owner, and me and Harry talk about it, right, because Harry's part of Greece, that owner has been cheating in other leagues for donkey's years. He's been done corruption charges in Greek, he's done bribery charges, and get this, above all this, right, I laid this out to my stepdad the other day in the car, get all this, right, so Forest needed Palace to get demoted, for Forest to get Europa League because they're too shit that they couldn't get it by themselves. So the best way for them to do that was get another club that also has the same shares into the Europa League. So what did they do? Buy loads of fucking players from some random kind of club that's owned by the same people that own Lyon. That helped fund Lyon, which then avoided them relegation, which meant they qualified for the Europa League, which meant Palace got kicked out. It is the biggest fucking conspiracy in the history of football. It's laid out like a fucking... That whole scandal with Juventus and the referees was harder to detect than this shit. It's right in front of our very eyes. And the fact that the Premier League and the fact that UEFA are looking the other way... because he's probably slipped some money under a table or chucked some a kebab. I don't fucking know. He's an absolute fucking prick. I absolutely hate him. Free Morgan Gibbs White. Anyway,
I'm going to make it even worse for you right now.
Yeah, go on.
Botafogo, they part own, or he is an owner of it, and he's got shares in it. They sold Danilo there for 23 million euros, and the two players they brought in. Guess how much it comes to?
It's not
just over 23 million.
Oh man! See, this is bullshit. This is bullshit. This is absolute bullshit.
Right.
Just add it in, right?
Arsenal and Chelsea doing this as well. I mean, come on, how many?
Yeah, but they buy each other's players because they're part. Listen, you have to sign each other's players when you're part of the We Hate Tottenham club. All right, that's part of the thing. West Ham aren't big enough to be in the We Hate Tottenham club. They're an outsider. No, listen, I'm going to rage. At least you've saved me a rant, so thank you for that. Because guess who I've got in 8th? Nottingham fucking Forest. Listen, I'm all for healthy oxygen, but cut the motherfucking trees down. No, honestly, I fucking hate the club. I hate their fans. I hate how arrogant their fans are. The whole shit with Morgan Gibbs White and there'll probably be an outcome of this by the time this goes out, right? So if you're seeing this now, then don't shoot me. But the whole shit, the way, secret. I said this to my mate this morning. Imagine I said, right, I'm going to tell you a secret. And you can never tell anyone. But one day, someone's going to knock on your door. And if you tell them that secret, it's going to change your life forever. But you've got to promise me you're never going to tell them. I'd fucking tell them. Are you joking? It's so stupid. An NDA for a public release clause. Are you having a laugh? Anyway, Forest 8th, they're fucking shit. I hope they get relegated. Harry, who's 8th?
I've got Brighton. I think they'll just do the same as they usually do. They'll finish top 10 and they'll be just an 8th this time. That's the only difference.
Sounds good. Michael?
I've gone Brighton as well. They've made some decent signings. I like the new centre back they've got in. Copperol, decent player. I think he'll maybe get a couple goals from him as well. Yes, touched upon João Pedro going, but the Cooper, I can't pronounce his name, from Club Brugge, quality player. They will have enough.
Before I go on to 7th, sorry about my outburst. As you can tell, I've been holding that in for a while. 7th, I've gone with Aston Villa. Aston Villa are a weird one because I thought Rashford was really effective for them last season. Asensio was phenomenal for them last season. And they haven't replaced that quality. I think if they hold on to Jacob Ramsey and they hold on to Morgan Rogers, I think there's still enough in that Villa squad. I don't think they'll do as well in Europe. They gave it a real go against PSG last year and they should be happy with themselves with that. But I think they'd have probably been better being in... Where are they? They're in the Europa League next season, aren't they? Yeah, I think the Europa League will take more stress off them than the Champions League. And I think they'll be dying to win it. If they invest, I think they could. If they don't, I think they'll fall short. But Villa go through patches in the league where they do really, really well and they do really shit and it averages itself out at the end of the season. So, 7th. Michael, who have you got 7th?
I've gone Villa as well, but I think Diassi will be even bigger loss to them than what Asensio and Rashford will be. Yeah. But I think that they will get people in. Obviously, I had a Villa fan on my podcast and we spoke about what they need as a whole. They're struggling with money at the moment in what they can spend. So I think a couple decent loan signings and they'll be fine.
Okay. Harry, who have you got 7th?
Same as you two, Villa. For once, we will agree on something. but
so
for
Villa
me,
are not finishing 7th then? Is that what we're establishing?
So for me, it's more like I just don't think Villa gave it a really good go to win something last season, and obviously losing Asensio and Rashford is not great for them because to replace that quality in Asensio is going to be very difficult. And I just think that they won't really make a charge for anything next season. Like they'll be comfortably in the top, 6, 7, 8, 10, whatever. But I just can't see them making a go of it. I just think they'll have like a down season. So they'll be seventh. They'll be like better than the 13 teams below them or something. But I just don't think they'll be close enough to the top 6 to really make a real dent. To be honest.
Okay, fair enough. Sixth, I have Newcastle. Now, while I think Alanga's a good signing, and I don't think they're necessarily overpaid the way people think they have, to the level people think they have overpaid, but not to the level. My problem with Newcastle is they've missed out on pretty much every major transfer target they've had this summer. And they are going to run out of options, and they're going to run out of time, and they're also trying to comply with PSR. I think, I'm not going to lie, if Liverpool were willing to bid 150 plus for Isaac, they were probably better doing that than holding him hostage. There's a lot of rumours about discontent between Eddie Howe and the owners, between Isaac and the owners. And if we Tottenham fans know, me and Harry, we know what it's like dealing with the major problems with signings and going into the course of the season with the uncertainty about a major player. We had that with Harry Kane on more than one occasion, and we started slow because of it. And I just think Newcastle will start slow. Champions League football, injuries, I just don't think they'll catch up. I like Newcastle as a club, but I rate Eddie Howe massively. They've got a very likeable squad, which is not something I can say about Newcastle teams gone by. But I just don't think they've done enough, and I don't think they will do enough. I think they'll end up going for second or third choice options, which in the end will turn out to be their downfall. So I've got Newcastle sixth. Harry, let's go you first. Who have you got in sixth?
Tottenham Hotspur. Tottenham. I think we won't be 17th, that's for sure. But I think the problem with us putting us, say, for me, above 6th or 5th even, is that we're going to have Champions League football next season. And this is a new thing for Frank as well. Not just, for us because we haven't been in it a few years. And I think with him being a new manager in the Champions League and a new manager at a new club, I think it will have some sort of effect on our form. I think we'll be in 6th. There'll be a case of our season will be ups and downs in terms of we'll make a decent go at the Champions League. We might not even get out of the groups. Possible, it's not group anymore, it's a league, right? It's a possibility, I do think. And if we do make it out, it will have a bigger hindrance, to our league form. But I think the league will be the biggest priority, which is why I put us down to 6th, because I just don't see us finishing outside the top 6. Because that's where, for me, on paper, our squad sort of is. But I just don't see us really challenging for the top 5, 4 places, really. So it'll be a roller coaster season. It's normal with us, but I think 6th is about right.
Michael?
I've also gone 6 for Spurs as well. I think it's a massive leap going from being, in a relegation battle, being that far down the table to completely massively change. Obviously, as a new manager, yes, he is probably one of the best managers that you lot could have got. But how is he going to fit into a new environment, new team? How quick can he evaluate the squad to get what he wants best out of the players? Obviously, you've done really, really well to getting Kudus, Tal as well. I'm a big fan of him. I don't know how you lot felt about him for last season. I know a lot of your fans were half your fan base wanted him, half your fan base didn't want him.
One of each in this session here, so.
Let's not have this rant about this right now. But I just think that if you can click, I think the 6th is the best you're going to get. I don't think you're going to get any higher than 6.
5th, I have Spurs. Now, the interesting thing for me with Spurs this season, one is I think we have a lot more depth and we have a lot more experience than we had last season. 2, we have a manager that doesn't play ridiculously vulnerable football. And I think there's a lot of players that Thomas Frank's wanted in the past that he was actually asked by Alistair Gold about Archie Gray and Brennan Johnson, and he said it's no secret that I like these players and I had a plan for these players when I tried to sign them. So who knows? And I watched, and I know it's only Reading, and it's only pre-season, but already seeing Udogie high and wide, seeing the physical threat that he has. I love that. Having Porro kind of tucked in as an extra defender who can ping those long balls. I just think there's so much potential with this Tottenham squad. And while I do think Champions League is going to be a different experience for us, I mean, last time we were in the Champions League, I think it was the last time me and Harry went to a game. No, it wasn't until we went to the Forest game. But the last time we went to a European game together, well, the last game we went to before that was the game against Marseille where we won 2-0. So I think there's a lot of potential with this Spurs squad. I don't think we'll win anything this year. Maybe the Super Cup. I don't think we'll win anything this year, but I think we'll show that we're not far away from that. It all depends on what we bring in. I think if we go and bring in that experienced six and we go and bring in Morgan Gibbs-White, I think the squad is pretty much set at that point without any outgoings. And then we just got to build from there, really. What people need to understand, like you said before, is it takes a lot to go from 17th to 5th. And I think we just need to take it day by day. All these people taking Thomas Frank's quote out of context of, oh, well, we are going to lose some games, need to shut the fuck up. Because listen, as he put it out, there's only 2 teams in English history that have ever gone unbeaten, and that's Preston and bleh. So as far as I'm concerned, he was in his right to say that, and he's saying that for the sake of give us time, give us patience, and we will get there. He's made it very clear that he wouldn't have made this next step in his career if it wasn't going to be a step up. Now, the only way you go from a step up is to a team that want to win trophies, and he clearly wants to do that. The ownership model clearly want to build from what we've got, and if we've got the investment that it looks like we're getting, then I think it could be a massive difference maker for us. And based on that, I think we'll be comfortable. I think we just need to get the Morgan Gibbs-White saga over and done with, which hopefully by the time you're listening to this, it will be. And then we just need to build from there. Michael, who have you got 5th?
I've gone for Newcastle. Now, originally I did have them 4th, but I put them 5th. I think they've got the 3 best midfielders, bar the top 2. So, bar Liverpool and Man City, I think they got the best 3 in midfield. I'm a massive fan of Jolinto, especially since he's come back into that middle. My only worry, obviously, they are looking for a new keeper, which they were after Trafford, who now looks like he's on his way to Man City, which would be a massive blow to Newcastle. But unless they get someone else in mind or bring somebody in, which I think they could or will do, if you're relying on Nick Pope, you are going to struggle. As much as I want Nick Pope,
did you see his blinder in pre-season the other day?
Yeah,
shocking.
I did. But then it's pre-season. I want Nick Pope at Leeds. He was one of the keepers that realistically, if we could get him, because he's the type of keeper that you want to keep you in the league. Yeah. He's not the type of keeper you want to say win you the league or get you into.
Yeah, he's a great shot stopper.
So I think as a whole, they've got enough quality to get there, but I think they will miss out on top 4.
Newcastle missing more targets than the sniper who tried shooting Donald Trump. Harry, who have you got 5th?
Chelsea. I just think they'll finish on more points than they did last season.
Okay.
But I just don't think they'll really make a push to the title. I just think it's too early. Obviously, João Pedro is a great addition to their team, and we saw how good he was in the Club World Cup. But I just don't see them breaking into that top 3 or 4 mould that we've got at the moment. And I just think that, I think they might win another trophy, though. They'll probably win like a League Cup or an FA Cup as well next season, but I just don't think they'll break into the title charge. So I've got them down as 5th. And I think Maresca still is kind of learning because, of course, he came from the Championship. And, I think the Chelsea fans will probably still should be shouting Maresca out again next season. Got them in 5th.
Okay. 4th, I have Chelsea. I think the signings they've brought in make sense. Caicedo had a phenomenal season last season. Adarabioyo looks really, really good. Enzo playing a more advanced role looks great. I think Delap is a good sign-in. They don't have to rely on bloody Nicholas Jackson anymore. They're trying to flog to United for 100 million. I just think Chelsea will be stable and consistent. I think they'll do well in the Champions League. They always do. Probably quarter-final, maybe even semi-final. I don't think they've got enough to win it just yet. But, I think Chelsea stable, consistent 4th. I think is probably the best way to describe it. Michael, who have you got 4th?
See, my third and fourth, I was umming and erring again. Which one? I know I said the same for Newcastle, if they would be fourth or not. I have gone for Chelsea but I wouldn't be surprised if they do get third, just based on who they've signed as well.
Okay, Harry, who's your fourth?
Arsenal. Yeah, quite surprising. I just think this is the season Arteta crashes out. So even though it's some of these players, I just think he'll find a way not to win the title. So like they'll have a kind of Wenger type season where they have a great charge at the beginning, their fans go ape shit for like 6 months, and they're like, "We're going to win the title," blah blah, and then they'll just crash out and collapse, and then Arteta will get sacked by the end of the season. So I think they'll just fall down to fourth. Like they'll have a great go at the beginning, and then I just think this is Arteta's last season. I know they're going to add Gyökeres, and on paper he seems like a great signing. We've seen tons of players from Portugal come, especially strikers, and fail. Namely, Postiga, we mentioned this morning, David, and also Darwin Núñez is a more recent one.
Yeah.
So I think there's no guarantee that Gyökeres is going to come in and just hit the ground running. Of course, he might, because maybe he's learned from his experience in Lisbon compared to his experience in Coventry, and he's more mature. But I think there's still big question marks over him for me personally. Like, I don't know. I have a feeling he might not do as well as people think. And obviously, they have added, Zubimendi and Norgard, but I just think I don't know whether Arteta can manage the amount of options he has in the correct way. And we see him do some really weird rotation techniques that I've not seen in terms of this lineup. So I don't know. I think they'll find a way to lose the title. Basically, that's basically what I'm trying to say. And then it will just collapse at the end of the season.
Fair enough. Well, Arsenal fans, you'll be delighted to know that I also haven't got you predicted second again. I've got you predicted third. I just think Arteta's up his own arse. Arsenal fans are massively overrating their transfer window, and every time that happens, they underperform. These lot wouldn't know the word humble if it slapped their mum in the face. So, for me, I think they'll finish third. I don't think they'll be close to the title this year. I think they'll probably get third just purely because Chelsea will do well in Europe. I don't think they'll do particularly well in the Champions League, so, add another free kick to your trophy cabinet. It's great that I can make those jokes now. Even my mate is an Arsenal fan, we were talking about it earlier, and he doesn't think Gyökeres is going to be a hit either. He would have much rather them go for a more Premier League natural option. And I think as good as he can do, it's such a weird one for Arsenal. This was a season where they needed to go and get proven experience and quality. And as good as Norgard is, and it'll be great for them defensively, but their problem wasn't defending last season. Their problem was scoring goals. And do I think that Madueke and Gyökeres is going to be the difference between 60-odd goals scored and 90-odd goals scored? The answer is no. And recent history shows if you're not scoring 85 to 95 goals, you're probably not going to win the league. And ultimately, I think that's what it'll come down to. They'll keep a bunch of clean sheets, get a bunch of 0-0 draws, but I just don't see them scoring the volume of goals needed to top the next two contenders, in my opinion. Michael, who have you got third?
So, a little bit of a controversial take, but I think this is going to be the most exciting title race that we've seen in a long time, to the point where it could be 4 or 5 teams fighting for it, right up until the last 6 weeks, 6 to 10 weeks, where one team will drop off and then another team will then drop off, and it'll be like that when Spurs were almost going to win the league and then they came third in a two-horse race.
Reminder.
I'm going to have to put it out there
again.
I had to put in a little dig, but I do believe it will be more exciting than that, where you're going to have the likes of Liverpool, Man City, Arsenal, Chelsea, Newcastle all fighting for it, and then like one will drop off and then the other will drop off. I have gone Arsenal in third, and again with
Gyökeres, this is great.
Obviously, Gyökeres we were linked with beforehand. We were almost going to get him for 14 million, and we turned him down and got Jorginho Rutter for 40 million. Don't ask. Victor Orta, absolutely loved him at that point. But can he do it in the Prem? Yes, he's been doing it in Portugal, but again, it's Portugal to the Prem. It doesn't always work, but he has got English football, so he's got that experience there. I think Zubimendi is a fantastic buy for them. I think Madueke as well if they link up well, it will hit, but it's got to hit the ground running within the first 3 weeks. Otherwise, it's going to be Gorkrez as a flop. Why have they brought him? Should have gone for Sesko or the guy from Crystal Palace, for example, would be a great fit for them, or Rodrigo instead of Madueke. I think the only thing that lets them down is Raya. I think if they had a bit of a better keeper, then they'd be more of a title challenge.
Okay. Harry, who you got third?
Newcastle. Yeah, it's probably contrary to what you guys have been saying. So I actually think that we'll have a sort of like Modric or Tottenham situation with Isak. I think the club will force him to stay one more year. I don't know if he will sign a new contract or not, and I think he'll end up having to knuckle down and play. And unfortunately, Isak is, in my opinion, the best striker in the league. So I think Newcastle will be dark horses for the title, kind of like what you alluded to a bit just now. And in my opinion, they have arguably the best three midfielders in terms of like, I would not want to face those three if I'd picked three to face in the league. And I think they're just going to bully teams as they normally do. And with Elanga added as well, I think as a counter-attacking team, you've got Isak, Elanga, and Gordon all coming at you. That's not what I want really. So I think they'll give a push for it. Whether they'll do it out of nowhere or not and win the title, I don't know. But as long as they keep Isak, they're definitely in the shout for it. So I've got them down as third. I just don't think they'll be able to sustain it.
Okay. I'll be very shocked if all of us don't have the same team here. So second, I'm going City. I just think Pep's on his way out, and I think this will be his last season. And he seems to get bored when Jurgen Klopp's not around. I just think, as good as City are, they'll probably try and win the Champions League again next year. And I think City are a lot, and I think this is probably partly Tottenham's fault. I think City are a lot easier to expose in the league than what people give them credit for. And so if you go at City with confidence and quality, you will beat them. And I think because there's almost a naivety about the way City play in the sense of they expect to win. Unless they play Liverpool or they play in the Champions League, then they pretty much expect to win majority of games. And that's where Tottenham have caught them out a lot of times, other teams have caught them out a lot of times. And I just think losing Kevin De Bruyne, not just for the quality, but for the individual person and the individual character he is and the mentality he possesses. They've lost Kyle Walker. All right, it wasn't a massive part of the squad, but he was there at the earlier stages. If Ederson goes as well, James Trafford is a massive risk. I do think he can make a step up to a top six side, as I expect him to go to Newcastle originally. Do I expect him to make a step up to being a title-winning keeper in one season? No. And I just think City can go and splash and splash and splash, but unity, in my opinion, is more important. And I think my first place team have that in so much of abundance that it's going to be unstoppable. So, Michael, who have you got second?
So I have gone Man City as well, but I will also say that the top two will both get 100 points each. I think that's what I mean by it's going to be that much of an exciting title race. Newcastle as well will be there or thereabouts, but again, it's that fall off. Who's going to drop off first? Who's going to drop off second? Man City, like you said, Champions League as well. I think they'll get there as well and think, right, what are we going to go for? We're going to go for the league or we're going to go for the Champions League. I love the Aidan Nuri signing. I think he's one of the best left backs in the league, especially going forward as well as defensively. Shirky as well is a quality player. The guy they got from AC Milan, again, I'm not going to butcher his surname. I think he is an absolute pivotal signing. Yeah. Rodri as well. Again, but they just miss out.
Harry?
So I'm not agreeing with either of you. I'm going Liverpool in second. My reasons are that I think Salah will drop off a bit next season. I think he's a year older. I think whilst they have signed a lot of these new players, it is still Slot's second season. And I think Pep has got years on him at City. And I don't know if I can talk about my first place now because I just wasted my second. But for me, I think there will be a drop. There will be a drop from Liverpool. Not a massive drop, of course. They're only dropping to second, but I think the new players will take some time to gel with the team. Obviously, there's links with Konate to Real Madrid. I know they've been linked with bringing Guehi and then trying to sell Quanta. There's also unsure future on Diaz. I don't know if he's staying or going. So there will be some sort of like changes there. Like obviously they're going to integrate Verts into the midfield, which everyone thinks is going to be a hit straight away. I don't know. I think we'll kind of just see how it goes because I don't know. We'll see how it goes. But I don't know. I just think City last season will be coming back even more, redemption sort of thing from the season before because they just want to prove that they're the best team in the country, really. So that's why I've got City above Liverpool next season. Obviously, their signings are great. Like you alluded to Cherky. I think he's going to be a massive hit for City, actually. Obviously, Ain't Nouri, he's got Premier League experience, but that's why I've got Liverpool as second and Man City as first. I just think Pep will not want to not win the title.
Okay, in hindsight, I should have said say you first and second at the same time. Obviously, I've got Liverpool first. I hate to be that guy, but I'm going to be that guy. I think with everything that's happened and the history of how Liverpool as a city and as a club react when something traumatic happens, they become an unstoppable force. And I think they're going to run away with it. I think we'll be sitting there by December going, it's done. I think when it comes to playing City, I think Liverpool will batter them. And then I think we'll be at a point now where we sit there and say, you know what, Liverpool are going to be hard to stop. And it's not just the quality they're bringing in. The depth they've got is phenomenal. And Liverpool have gone, like Slobodan had an okay, probably good season last season. As good as most attacking midfielders in the league. They've gone, sorry, mate. They've brought in a first choice and moved him down to the bench and then sold, or in the process of selling Harvey Elliott, who was the original backup. And I've always said it's how I build depth on Football Manager. That's how I would build depth if I had a football club. Have someone who's had a good season, go and get someone who's better, move them to your bench, bring in the new starter and just sell you a rotation option. And I think Liverpool, I don't think they'll be done after Ekatike. I think there's more to come for Liverpool. Don't think it'll be Rodrigo, but I do think they'll have more options. And I just think for Liverpool that they just have a way. They just have a way in the worst moments that they can possibly find. They just have a way of proving why not only they're one of the biggest clubs in the world, but why they're one of the most mentally strongest clubs in the world. And I think this is a season where that defies everything. I think Man City, I get what Harry was saying about them having a redemption arc. But last time City was like, right, we made loads of signings, we're having a redemption arc, and they fell off a fucking cliff. And I think we'll see the same thing again, and then we'll see Pep leave at the end of the season. I think that'll be the trajectory of City's season. Michael, obviously you've gone City second, Liverpool first. Why that way round?
So I think with their keeper that was on loan, or they brought from Valencia and then went on loan, I'm not even going to butcher his surname because I terrible pronunciation. I think he helps challenges Alisson for that number one spot instead of what Kelleher would do. Obviously, the new left back from Bournemouth, Frimpong from Bayern Munich. He's the only one that I'd worry about in terms of the fact that he's so attacking that he would get caught out defensively. You've already alluded to Diaz possibly going. I do think then they would go for Rodrigo or someone of that quality. Yes, I've gone for them first, but Verts is the one that would worry me in terms of how is he going to hit the ground running. Again, like I said, players coming from Portugal. The same with German league as well. Is he going to hit or miss? If he hits, then it is going to be frightening. But I don't think they run away with it like you've just said, David. I think it will be a case of it's going to go down to the wire, but they edge it solely based on the fact that they are that good, that mentally strong.
Okay, sounds good. Let us know what you think in the comments. We've got a few more predictions to do, and then we'll talk a little bit about Leeds. Top goal scorer, I've gone for Mohamed Salah. I think, completely contrary to what Harry said, I think the player's class. I think he has a habit of stepping up when it matters most, and this season more than ever it's going to matter most. I'll tell you what, I'll go through the whole list, and then everyone can do theirs. My most assists, I haven't actually written an answer. I'm going to say Cole Palmer. It's a bit of a weird one, but I think he'll link up with Delap really, really, really well. And I think Delap's one of them sort of fox in a box players. Reminds me a lot of Harry Kane with his shooting style. And I think he'll get a lot more goals than people give him credit for. Player of the season, I've got Mohamed Salah. I think he's just going to run away with it. I think, like I said before, Salah has that habit of just absolutely wiping the floor when it matters most, and I think that'll be one of those occasions. Young player of the season, so I went with a slightly biased option. My biased option was Vuskovic, the Spurs centre-back. I think he's phenomenal. He showed it last year. He's phenomenal. I think if he gets the chance to play for Spurs, he'll be phenomenal. But based on the fact that I don't think he's going to play as many games, I think I'm going to go with my option as Ryan Cherky. I was establishing him and Verts, to be honest, but I do think he'll edge it. By the way, I'm establishing young player seasons as anyone younger than 23 before Sky get involved and start nominating 28-year-old fucking Phil Foden or whatever the fuck. Biggest surprise of the season, this can either be good or bad, and it's solely based on the team. I think Everton. I think they're going to be a lot more stable and a lot more secure than people realise. And I think they'll show the quality of the club they are and the quality of the squad they've got next season. My League Cup winner, see, in my prediction about said club, I said they weren't going to win anything, but I've actually gone for Spurs. I think Frank has a way in those little moments about getting results when you least expect. I wouldn't be surprised if it's Liverpool or I wouldn't be surprised if it's whoever, but my League Cup winner, I've gone with Spurs. I think if he does win the Super Cup, I think it kind of takes all the pressure off of him, and I think that will naturally cause us to do better in domestic cups. He will want to win, not just to convince himself he's made the right decision, but to convince Spurs fans as well. So I do think we'll do well in the domestic cups. Whether we win it or not, I don't know, but I'm going blind optimism. I said it last season, I turned out to be right. So, an FA Cup winner, controversially, I've gone with Everton. I think it's been a long time since they've won something, and I think if Moyes can get them comfortable mid-table, I think they're a hard team to go to play against. If they get a couple of away ties at the home stadium, they've built up a good atmosphere, they get sort of Villa at home, and they've built up a good atmosphere, they've built up a good form of results, they can turn it into a fortress. We've seen it with Tottenham. You can do well domestically if you turn a stadium into a fortress, and I think they will do that at the new stadium. I think the Everton fans are all positive about going to the new stadium. I don't think there's anyone sitting there saying, oh, we shouldn't have left Goodison. So I think that will be a springboard for them to allow them to go on. And I'd like to see it for Jack as well. Obviously, Jack's a good mate of mine. Obviously, come on the podcast quite a few times, Everton fan. If he's listened this far, I'll have to tell him to listen to the whole podcast just to listen to this bit. But no, after we won a trophy last year, I'd love to see him. I'd love to see him win something, because as a sort of knowing what it's like to have that after so many years, and not even really in my lifetime. Obviously, we had the League Cup, but I was too young to really remember it. So for me, having that moment, I'd like to see him have a moment like that he's never going to forget. Michael, we'll go you first. Top goal scorer.
Top goal scorer, I've gone for Haaland. Most assists, I'm going to go for Salah. I think Salah gets more assists this time. I don't think he's going to get as many goals as he did last few seasons. I think he'll be more of that creator now. Player of the season. Do you know what? I'm going to go a bit rogue and go for Zubimendi. Is it Zubimendi, the one that's just joined Arsenal? I think what he brings to that squad, I think he will become like a player of the year. Young player. How would you class as a young player?
Anything younger than 23.
Elanga.
Okay.
Or João Pedro.
Okay.
Elanga or João Pedro. They're both 23 at the moment, though. So if you're going to go at the end, then it will probably
Seems a bit
be
dodgy, that one. I don't know. So now I'll give you that.
If not, then if Liam Delap actually starts scoring goals, then he will be up there.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I'd love to say Archie Gray, but I don't think he gets as many minutes as what I'd like to see him get. If he's going to be playing week in, week out, he will 100% be the young player of the year. And then you've got, what's it next?
The biggest surprise, good or bad, for a team?
biggest. That's a tough one, really. When you look at it, I think if Sunderland stay up, I think Sunderland will be the biggest surprise, no matter how you look at it, even if they just stay up. Yeah, I'm going to go Sunderland as the biggest surprise to stay up.
Okay. FA Cup winner.
FA Cup winner will be Chelsea.
My God, I was about to say Brighton for a second.
I
can
almost did.
see it.
I almost did.
Okay.
But I just think Chelsea, the cup they win will be the FA Cup.
Okay, and League Cup.
I'm going to back Leeds to win the League Cup.
Oh, shocking, man. The looks I got when I said Spurs winning the League Cup and you said Leeds.
No.
You picked the wrong
To be
team.
fair,
Right.
if not, it will be Everton.
Okay.
They are due a trophy. Yeah. But I would love it if we done a cup. But as long as we stay up in the league, I don't really care about anything else. This season is about staying up, but I might as well at least back my club for something this season.
Mate, you got to do it, ain't you? Harry, top goal scorer.
Alexander Isak. I've got top goal scorer. And then what's the other one? So
assists,
Ryan Cherky at City.
Okay.
And then you said
player of the season.
Player of the year. Player of the season. This was an interesting one. I was thinking in my head. I'm gonna take a wild shot and say Florian Wirtz.
Okay, that's interesting. Young player of the season.
I want to agree with and say Lim Delap. It's a good shout.
Okay, that's interesting. I could see that, to be fair. Biggest team surprise, good or bad?
I'm saying Newcastle because I think they're going to make a title charge.
Okay. FA Cup winner?
Man City.
And League Cup winner?
Chelsea.
Okay, fair enough. Do you know what? Out of the course of all those predictions, there was quite a lot of similarities and quite a lot of logical answers. There wasn't too many rogue things where we all looked at each other and went, "The fuck are you talking about?" So that was quite interesting.
Brentford in 20th.
Obviously, well, yeah, Brentford in 20th, West Ham in 19th, and I get looked at dodgy for saying Spurs are going to win a trophy again. I love how we can say again. Obviously, we couldn't have a Leeds fan on without talking a little bit about Leeds. So, just from you, from where you are now, what do you think is absolutely essential to do if you're going to give yourself a real chance of staying up?
So obviously, players, we're after a new striker, a new winger. Obviously, Stats looks like he's going to happen in the next few days, within this week. Bid's been accepted. I think he will definitely help us out defensively, especially with how tall he is as well in the air. Again, like I alluded to earlier on with Pajal coming in, again, there was links of him going to Marseille that was agreed, but they can't actually agree a fee. And if they don't get over the line tonight, like in terms of agreeing a fee, then they will move on to new targets, which then could help us out. If not, we've got wingers lined up. So there are different options. He was just one of the list we were after. I think we've got enough to stay up in terms of what we've already brought and who we're looking at. Obviously, the goalkeeper is the issue that we would look at next after the winger and potentially striker is done.
Okay. Obviously, a player you've not mentioned that was on loan to you last season, Manuel Solomon. Obviously, a lot of Leeds fans, outside of his political beliefs, liked him and liked his play style. Is that a player you'd consider, or do you think now, kind of being in the limelight, it's best to steer clear given the more than controversial takes on murdering innocent people?
I said when we first signed him that he would be a kind of cheat code for the Championship. He is too good for the Championship. Now, I've been a massive Solomon fan since he was at Shakhtar Donetsk, so I've known about him for years, and I've always thought, is there a chance in how they would join us? And then, obviously, Fulham, he was brilliant, then went to you guys, obviously, his injuries. Obviously, he got the winner against Plymouth right in front of my eyes as well, which was just even better. The fact that it was Solomon as well in the last minute. If there was a chance to sign him, I would absolutely love it. But if we're going for Pajal, then or another winger, then no, we don't. But if there's a chance near the end of the season, like end of the transfer window, obviously your manager wants to take a look at him in pre-season, which is the right thing to do. Take away the whole politics thing out of it. He is a decent player. Now, is he a top 6 Premier League player?
Definitely not.
I think there is. I think there is, but it's with the players that you've already got. He's not better than.
Yeah.
And you've just signed Kudus as well, so he's not going to get involved in front of him or Kulusevski or Son for that matter. I know Son's coming towards the end of his career, so probably could get in ahead of Son, but Son may be leaving you guys. Would I take him back? Yes. But like I said, if we get Pajal, it's one of those things that we'd have to lose Ramazani, Nonto. James isn't going anywhere, so unless we lose one of those 2 players, he's not going to come.
Okay, fair enough.
I do love him as a player.
So obviously you guys came up. Is it 2-3 years ago now? Sorry, with Bielsa, right? Am I wrong?
4 or 5 years ago now.
4 or 5 years.
Yeah, because they were in the Premier League for quite a while before he went down.
We're in the Premier League for 2 years, so it would have been 6. It was just before COVID. It was the COVID year.
Well, anyway,
that's how long.
1920.
So do you think that, like, what's the difference between this time and last time is what I'm trying to get at really, as in, do you think, for example, you guys are coming up with a bit more experience, or do you think they're coming up with a bit more structure? Because obviously the football you played last time was maybe great to watch for one season, and then you guys totally collapsed the next season because it was so open, kind of like with Andrew, I guess. But like, do you think there's like a difference, obviously, in like the different manager, like different players? Because Notto, I think, has been there for a while now, hasn't he? And you know, is there like a difference? You think? Do you feel any different coming back this time compared to last time? Like, are you guys more confident because, like I said, more experience, or like what do you think is the difference between this time and last time? And is there a difference? I don't know. I've not really experienced it myself, so.
There's a massive difference. There's a massive difference in our style of play. Like last time, it was a case of we were that attacking, that free flowing. It blew teams away. Like nobody knew what to expect with us. We were playing like with a 3-1-3-3 formation. It was just gung ho, score more than the others. And again, yes, it was during COVID, so you had no fans. So it didn't matter if we were playing at home or away. We would just play the same way. Obviously, we went to beat Man City 2-1 with 10 men because of how we played. This time round, I think, had we got promoted last season, we would have struggled. I just think we're more experienced in terms of the cohesion in how we play with each other. We've brought a lot more physical players to help that aspect of it. So in terms of, like I've already alluded to, with the 6'3", 6'4" giants, it's going to help us better in set pieces and going forward in set pieces areas as well. So I think, and if we play the way that we did against Man United yesterday on the 19th, we were really physical. We put our foot in, especially Sam Byram, who near his end of his career didn't let.
That's a name I haven't heard for a while. Fucking hell.
We didn't get Darlow go past him. He was that physical. He was putting his foot in, making his mark. Yes, we are going to get yellow cards. I will say that now happily. But if we play that style and counter-attacking teams with James's pace and Ramazani's pace, we will shock a few teams. I'm under no illusion it's going to be hard. Like I already said, anywhere between 14th and 19th, or even 20th, obviously, Burnley with a slimmer of hope. But I think it's one of those things that we win our home games, we've got enough. No team has got relegated with 11 wins. I think we have enough to get 11 wins.
Okay, that's a really interesting way of looking at it, actually. And I suppose if you kind of set that target, then you're kind of counting down, and the minute you hit it, you know what, we, barring a bit of unluckiness, we pretty much should be safe. I think that's a more structured way of looking at it than a lot of teams that come up look at it. And I think that probably gives you the not just the most chance of success, but the most chance of going into the season with no, like you say, no illusions. There's no sort of like misleading of what you expect the season to be or whatever. It seems very clear cut. This is how we think the season is going to be. Because if you want to stay up and you want to be Premier League players for more than 12 months, get your fucking foot stuck in, get your head in, and that's the only way you're going to do it. And I think that's definitely a very more than reasonable way of looking at it, actually, to be fair. The last thing quickly before we do what we always do, Patrick Bamford, obviously I saw a clip I saw a clip of Daniel Farke saying that he wasn't part of his plans. It feels so weird because obviously I know he played for Middlesbrough, I know he played for Chelsea, but I struggle to think of a time that he wasn't playing at Leeds. Obviously, the time is right for him to move on, right? And I don't think anyone's under any illusions that that's not the case. For you, how would you sum up his time at Leeds? And do you think now is the right time? Do you think you should have gone 2 years ago? Do you think well, I know the answer that you don't want to keep him for another year. So do you think do you think he's gone at the right time? He should have gone sooner. And how would you sum up his time at Leeds?
He personally should have gone 2 years ago. Like I said to you before we started recording, I'm not going to sit here and say I like or dislike him. I'm solely basing this on a footballing point of view, and I try and take my Leeds bias out of it when I try and analyse Leeds, because unless you're straight after a game or anything and you just ranting, so I try and look at it from that kind of point of view. So Bamford under Bielsa was good. Great in times. Yes, he missed a lot of chances, and there are a few games when he could have easily scored a lot more than he did. The season we were up in the Prem, with no fans during COVID, that suited him down to a T because he didn't have that fan base on him that was jeering him. All the online noise of he's doing rubbish, why are we playing Bamford and all of this. So he stepped up his game and he got an England cap because of it. Do I think we could have got rid of him last season? Absolutely. The year before, we just got relegated, so it was a case of, or in the Premier, do we need him? He's got that experience. He knows the club. And on his day, he's going to get you goals or in those positions. Like his off the ball run, his hold up play is good, but he's injury prone now. It is the right time to move on in that sense. Would I have moved on from him last season? Yes, but Farke's done the right thing in telling him before, like a few weeks ago, that he's not in his plans. He's gone and bulked up now, either going to prove to Farke that he's wrong by showing up in training, but he's apparently been training with the under 21s. So he's not even in the plans at all. So he's not even gone. So he's that type of player. He's bulked up, looking for in the shop window now. So, for example, Wrexham, Birmingham, going to America. I had talks going to America last 6 months ago. So he's got that option now. I think he would suit any American side, or Wrexham are looking for a striker as well at the moment. So unless they go for someone a little bit more not injury prone.
Okay, that's fair enough. Now, we always ask, whenever we have people on, we always ask people 3 words. So for you today, I'm going to go, what 3 words would you use to describe how you're feeling about the upcoming season? They don't have to make a sentence. They don't even have to make sense. It's about what you as an individual feel. What 3 words? I love doing this. It's great. We started it for season 3 and it's been really good so far. So what 3 words would you use to describe how you're feeling about the upcoming season for Leeds?
Excited, anxious, optimistic.
That pretty much sounded like what Jack said for Everton, to be fair. I think more people are going to say, but no, I like that. I think it resembles the novelty of what it means to be a football fan, but also understanding that shit can hit the fan quicker than you can say the word football, and there's not really a lot you can do to control it. No, I like that a lot. If you guys are watching this, go and drop him a follow. I'll leave his TikTok in the description. That's the main platform that you post on. I don't know what else you post on.
We're on YouTube, Instagram, Spotify.
There you go. Search all
Pretty
these
much
TV
pretty much anywhere.
and
Literally
you'll
all
find
these
it.
TV on
Yeah.
any platform.
And hopefully one of me or Harry or maybe both of us will jump over there for when we play Leeds and vice versa. Have you back on again. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Definitely.
Make sure you guys make sure you subscribe. Next week you will see what me and Harry recorded this morning, which is part 3 of the Spurs quiz. That's the last part. You'll be glad to know it. Me and Harry know how it ended, and let's just say it's a cracker. You don't want to miss it. The week after that, we'll have the Super Cup preview, and then obviously the start of the season. So it's coming thick and fast. Make sure you make sure you subscribe. Drop us a 5-star review on Spotify if you're listening on there. Hello, Theo, if you're listening, little man. I love you lots and lots. And we will catch you guys next week. Come on, you Spurs!
Come on, you Spurs!